Hello, Siscu Perez from Spain. We are looking forward to listen your lecture now. What will be the subject?
We want to talk about Samba, how to create a fluidity movement in the body, how to use the flexible joints in order to create a nice movement and not just a picture or effects.
Sounds very interesting. We are looking forward to see your lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please welcome the third time with us in the camp from Spain, Mr. Siscu Perez.
Thank you, Helmut. Thank you everybody to come for the lecture. Thank you to Assis and Henner to give me the pleasure to be here already the third time. So this is my second time lecture. So of course I'm a bit more relaxed as the last year. I had very successful lessons in the camp, so I hope the lecture will be also as great as the couples get the information. So the subject of today, it will be about Samba. How to use the joints, how to use my body actions, and how to use all the preparation of my body in order to move in a better way, more flexible and more fluid. In one part, I had the honor by WDSF to judge the last European Latin Championship in Cambrils. And of course, when you are inside the panel, you have better information about comparing the couples. But I find the most often problems in the couples are to produce the correct energy to don't be blocked, to don't be physical, and to use, as I say, that will be the subject of the lecture, the joints in a flexible way, to feel free and to create really a nice movement. So to assist me on the lecture, I have today two champions, and we had a little bit the joking, yeah? So we will have the Czechoslovakia champions in two couples. So big applause for them. Champions from Czech Republic, Marek and Nastia. And champions of Slovakia, Tomáš and Nika. So after all my speech, we will have, I will use them for demonstrate what I want to explain you today. And then at the end, we will have a nice performance of their Samba. So thank you for coming to my lecture. I know it's a bit also stress for you, but we did it well this time. We prepared with time. So the most important thing to talk in Samba I want today is that give you a proper idea of how to use the leg action, knees and ankles to produce a correct bounce action, which normally it's often in the couples, when they start to use the knees together with the body, often I see that the body goes rocking, using it for create the bounce. And what I want to explain today, I will have Nika first, yes? Thank you, Nika. So when you will create a bending of the knee or compression, of course the knee together with the ankles need to pass my gravity center, which normally what I see is just bending of the knee to staying on the place. Instead of, as I did before, I will use a rocking action of the knees and ankles under my gravity center, which will be this. And then the most important is not how I start to prepare that action, it's how I recover from that position. And that's what it comes the interesting thing to see in Nika. If she will do it in a bad way, like very basically, she will use also the body to compensate that bounce. 1 and 2. And many of the couples are doing this. That is why the dance becomes very physical. Instead of, I relax my knees and my ankles. I allowed these joints to pass my gravity center. And the way back, I will resist the knee going up under my gravity center without going back with the hips. So just placing the knees under. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. And then the movement I create, it's all the way forward. So even when I allowed my knees going in front of my gravity center, I'm staying vertical. When I stretch the knees under the gravity center, I'm also vertical. Right? Thank you, Nika. Just let me drink a little bit of water. Now better. So, the coordination between knees, hips, and rib cage. We need to really balance and resist on a line. Because the problem also what it comes is that when I create a movement, I don't create a correct alignment in my body. I just produce wrong movements that becomes out of the gravity balance line. So my spine have all along my body through the floor a vertical gravity line. And that gravity line I never can lose laying back. So the idea to prepare a movement will be, when I bend my knee, I allowed my sit bounce to be in front of my tailbone and trying to place them in front of my body. Like this, my gravity vertical line is still straight. The problem becomes when I try to go back. The normal mistake is like, oh, I have a fake vertical line forward, and then the hips works back. Or when I straight back, I just try to compensate, and because my gravity center go forward, I go back with my rib cage. It makes sense? So the idea will be that when I collect the sit bounce together with the rib cage, I still work in one line in order to produce levels of space in my body and not, let's say, fake or physical or muscular compressions and extensions in order to look heavy. Yeah? So when I see Samba in our WDSF competitions, I only see working with muscles. And I miss the working of the skeleton, you say? Skeleton, of the skeleton. Yeah? So the idea will be that when, I forget already the word. How was, Albena? Skeleton. So I miss how the skeleton, it works in coordinated way to prepare a movement. So again, I repeat the idea. To connect the preparation of the movement to a cruzado walk, we can talk. It will be the resistance of the leg allowed my gravity center to work through my leg to leave the foot and to prepare the new direction in the other side. So the principle is that my sit bound of the standing leg will be inside the gravity center under the rib cage, and with that meeting, I allowed my other side to prepare the direction in order to move. Yeah? Then I will ask Tomasz and Nika to make it in a whisk action. Yeah, then in them we can see it better. Please. So we'll try to facing, yes, facing, one like opposite. Let's do this way, yes? Nika facing and you back to the audience, like this. So we will start to prepare on the beat before it happens. So the number 8, when it happens, the 1. I will do 7, 8, I use my knees and my ankles, and I prepare my seat bound in the way of going up, as I say, to be under the gravity center and to prepare the new direction. So which is the difference between what I showed before in the cruzado walk or what they will do in the whisk? Just that the free side I will prepare, instead of going forward, to going to the side, because we have a whisk. So once we get the resistance, we get an action which it calls a high hip. So we make 8 and. So in the standing side, they have a high hip that, very important when you do this pendulum, you don't send the, let's say, the external side out of your foot. Because then is when start the, let's say, the not alignment correct in the body. If Nika make a pendulum to the side to get the high hip, the upper part need to do exactly the same coordination, but in the other way around. But there is not isolation, as many couples do that, like to the side and to the side. Yeah? So it will be a pendulum going up to the standing leg and a pendulum going up on the free side. From there, we have the meeting point, as I say. So the joint, it's the seat bound and the rib cage. I use that meeting to, how to say, amortiguar. Suspend, yeah? I don't know how to say, like a suspension, yeah? To push off the foot and create the side movement. Can you do together? Yeah? So 7, 8, and 1. We have a bending knee. That is also another very important subject. So we have a soft knee action. Because if you work with the muscles, the only thing will gonna happen that your body weight will lay back. And what we want, that immediately after the step on the beat, I start to absorb the way up of the bounce action. So I don't want to see any of you after the lecture today that you keep the standing leg, which I depart from, like block. It should be like straight, but release in order to absorb into the next position, which will be the Latin cross. Can we do it again? So, we use the number 8 going down, then end going up, the last quarter of the beat, preparing the direction. 1, I land. End, I absorb. I cross. And immediately after this I step on the next step. Yeah? So if we count with the music, we will have 8 quarters of the music. And this is what also I didn't see the right timing. So when all the couples doing the, not all, but most of, are doing the third step, they are going out of the beat, of the second beat of the bar, of the 2. They are stepping later. So if I count it, it will be 7, 8. Now I count by quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what is very important, that even if I'm trying to work mechanically in a coordinated way, I need to understand how my body works, how my joints are collaborating or are like working together in order to create the speed and the timing of the foot. Then another thing I want to say. When we push off from the foot in the preparation of the movement, it's very important that you don't try to do it, as I say in the beginning, muscle-wise. So I only use my muscles to absorb the skeleton, yeah? The skeleton that I'm articulating or I'm transferring. But I don't use the muscles to squeeze and sit on the place. This is very important that you get the message. So the muscles is just help to move inside and to absorb, let's say, the body weight, but not to create speed. If you abuse of the using of the muscles, you will get very physical in the competition. And then everything it comes out of music, the physical part, the physical preparation of the dancers become really exhausted, and you cannot create dynamics in what you are doing. So we'll repeat one more time the Samba whisk, and we will focus about the high hip, how to use by the joints to create a diagonally movement to the side to create the space and in order to move better. And 7, 8, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and stop. So in this high hip, as I say before, okay, I will do it with Tanka, yes, because I'm abusing of you too much. What I want to ask, what I want to focus on you, the high hip movement never goes out of the leg. Always support my upper part of the center and my chest through the abdomen to create a better diagonally to the side. And in this moment, when I finish this high hip, I start to absorb, releasing the knee. And for 5. Thank you. Yeah, clear? Good. So thank you, Thomas and Nika. And now, I'm getting my lips very dry, and then stops with my teeth. Next, Marek and Nastia, thank you very much again for coming. I know you have a very busy weekend here in WUPPERTAL. Follow, yes? So, we will make with them the same idea and the same information to make it clear in the promenade runs and in the zigzag. I only just changed one thing, Marek. We will go through 3 promenade runs and then we go to the zigzag, yeah? But I take just on, let's take on the choreography, yeah? Because Nastia has very interesting, let's say, way into the promenade runs, and I want to work on it. We were already working a bit, but let's see how it works. So, she has like short steps running back before to enter in the promenade run. So what I always ask Nastia, that in order to use in a good way this rocking of the knees under my center, yes? And we want to create, I'll just take Nastia for a second, yeah? And we want to create like a trekking for the men, inviting into coming to me to create the promenade runs. So she will prepare, can you do just the steps that everybody see what the action is? 6 and 7 and 8 and 1 and 2. Yeah. Thank you, Nastia. So the idea will be to create all that trekking. She will start from the preparation and she will finish on that position I said before, that I place my knees under my gravity center in order to create a forward movement. She will do all the running back steps during this process of the straightening of the knee. So she will start really deeper from here, 5, 6 with the knees, and 7 and place the knees under the gravity center and allow the gravity center to connect with the upper part and go into the promenade run. Nice. Thank you. So, Marek, yeah, can we have you now? Very good. Actually, better than never. So, let's do it from the entrance. You have 5, 6 there, yeah? And we will stop in Marek on the number 5, 6, yeah? 5, 6. So the idea is another time this high hip action. And remember what we said. We will use the lifting of the hip in order to going under my upper part of the center and creating a diagonally to the side movement there, in order to see the direction on his body, much more obvious. What is the common mistake? Once you get the body weight on the back foot, you start to rotate the hip, and then the side is not so clear where it wants to go. Then the lady gets lost, and she cross in my tracking, what normally happen. Right, man? And 5, 6, and 7, 8, and 1, 2. Great. Once we have, can you stay just in the position, yeah? Once we stay in that 1, 2, we get again into the soft knee action. And because we have a progressive step, which is the promenade run, to go into the counter promenade run, I will ask Marek and Nastya to push the side of the direction, not into the rotation directly, but through the same subject we speak today about the high hip. I use my high hip through my abdomen to lift the back foot to create a more obvious direction, so more resistance with the shoulder, and then absorb immediately into the next direction, which will be the counter promenade run. 1 and continue, 2. Great. Thank you very much. Very good. Muy bien. So let's take again the beginning. Let's take about the action of the side high hip to create a side clear movements before you enter into the promenade run. Right? So we'll have I think it's 3 movements about this. Make 5, 6. Come on. 5, 6. And then he got from the high hip, always, I want to mention, one moment. I want to mention what I say in the beginning, that I use this high hip and I use the leg action in order to prepare levels of height, yeah, on my body. Not just a compression and extension. So these 2 pendulum, it happens on the body. It allowed me to be taller in my center and not squeeze by the muscles, the sides, and become physical again. Yes, you follow? Good. 5, 6. 5, 6, sideways, 7, 8, and 1 and 2. We take another promenade run, the counter promenade, and 3 and 4. Next one, and 5 and 6. Now we enter in the zigzag. So very important that because of the progression of the dance, they keep diagonally forward through the high hip movement. And I repeat again, very important from that position, that they have the use of the soft knee in front, and they collect under the gravity center the back leg in order to start the zigzag. So we are 7, 8, and 1. Yes. Let's do it in the other side, from there. So the beginning, all the 3 promenade runs, and the zigzag. And 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, and 1 and 2. Good. Thank you. So, which is the common mistake in the zigzag? I take your panel, yes? Can I? Thank you. She's safe, don't worry. She's safe, don't worry. So from the, let's say from the entrance of the zigzag. So as we mentioned in the beginning, we use our joints, our seat bounds, together with my ribs in order to absorb the movement. And before I create the rotation, I want to make clear direction with the supporting side. So the supporting side of Nastya now is the high hip. So it's the right side is supporting through the abdomen and through the low part of the back, the direction of the movement. This is a support. You can find the limit going with the pendulum up there and the pendulum up on the ribs. So I will go with my hips to the right leg, with my ribs to the left leg. Then from here, she has to absorb seat bound and ribs, but not rotating. Just absorb and having the meeting in the same line. So with this, everybody can see, we get the knee, sorry Nastya, it's under the hip area. And like this, I can prepare a side leading movement, but building up spaces, not doing that mistake. So the most important is to have the parallel line of the hip and the parallel line of the ribs. So the direction will be to the side, and then when she moves forward, she steps on to do the backward action into the zigzag. Then she has to continue transferring back the rib cage of the new leg, which is the left. Keep transferring, and in the moment she absorbs the rib, she has to release the forward knee. Like this, I create space in the body, and I create direction. And from here, she just will step under the side to do the swivel and to do the next action. Then the movement is really deep. Now, we do the same idea. High hip, going into absorbing. But, what I say in the beginning, very important when you do the pendulum action, the upper part of the rib cage go in line. Because the normal mistake is when you do a hip, you start to laying back. And then it's disaster. So we will try to make on the line, and from that line, again I make the direction to the next step. And all the time the same. Thank you very much, Nastya. Good. So back to Marek. Thank you, Marek. Thank you, Nastya. You can leave the floor. Okay, so I think the message was clear. I think you now have a bit more information of how to use the joints in the movement of Samba. So thank you very much again to Henner and Asis for the invitation to this fantastic, or one of the most fantastic camps. It happened in our WDSF. And to finish this lecture, I will invite both champions of Czechoslovakia. Please take your positions. And they will have for you, hopefully, a nice demonstration of their choreographies in Samba. Thank you very much. Why it doesn't work? There. once again Marek, Nastia, Tomasz, and Nika to be here. And thank you to everybody to assist to our lecture. Thank you. Good. That's fine. Yes. That is nice. I love this moment. Marek, you. Thank you. Thank you.